All right, ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
Today, we're tackling Think and Grow Rich,
Yeah, Napoleon Hill's classic.
a book that's been on so many reading lists for, like, forever. And you know what? You sent in the whole thing as source material.
Wanted to get to the core of it.
Exactly. So we're going to uncover those secrets Andrew Carnegie shared with Hill.
See if we can really, truly think and grow rich.
Big question.
It is. The book promises a formula for success and wealth.
The formula. So are we going to find it?
Well, we're going to sift through the stories, the principles.
Separate the timeless from, what might be a little outdated.
See what holds up today.
Perfect. Love it. Let's jump right in with one of the most memorable stories.
Oh, yeah.
Edwin Barnes shows up at Edison's lab,
Practically penniless.
but with this burning desire to work with Edison. Not just for him,
With him.
with him. Big difference.
Huge.
Most people would, given up,
Oh, absolutely.
but not Barnes.
Nope. This is Hill's first principle in action. Desire.
Desire. Okay, so what's the difference between just wanting something and this, burning desire?
It's not just wanting it. It's that deep, almost obsessive craving
Craving.
that fuels action. Barnes, he had this crystal clear vision.
He knew what he wanted,
Nothing could stop him.
and it paid off.
It did. He ends up working side by side with Edison.
Even though he started, way at the bottom.
Yeah, in a really menial role.
It really shows you the power of focus.
Unwavering focus.
This is what I find fascinating, though. How this connects to Darby.
Darby.
The guy who stopped digging for gold,
3 feet from striking it rich.
3 feet.
Yeah,
Talk about persistence, or the lack of it, right?
exactly. Darby's story is a lesson in what happens when you let setbacks and rejections get to you.
Cost him a fortune.
Literally. But there's this parallel Hill draws between Darby and a story about Darby's uncle
Oh, yeah.
and this persistent young girl.
The one who just wouldn't take no for an answer.
Yes. Hill uses this little anecdote to foreshadow this power of faith and autosuggestion. He implies that this girl, her unwavering belief, it was a form of the strange power.
A strange power, huh?
It's like he's subtly suggesting that we can, in a way, will things to happen through sheer belief.
Okay, so we're going beyond willpower here.
Way beyond. It suggests there's something deeper, a deeper mental force.
We can tap into,
If we know how.
and that's where imagination comes in.
Bingo. Hill calls it the workshop of the mind. We have to go beyond just rearranging ideas, what he calls synthetic imagination.
Right. He's pushing us towards creative imagination.
Yes, this idea that we tap into a source of knowledge, something beyond our conscious minds.
Okay, I like where this is going. To illustrate this, he uses the story of the guy who bought the magic kettle,
The magic kettle, right.
believing it could make gold. Now, obviously.
It's not really magic.
But the idea behind it, the man's belief, fueled his success. He didn't buy a kettle, he bought into a concept.
A vision.
And that's where the power is. It's like a reminder that we all have ideas,
We do.
but what we do with them, how much we believe.
That's what really matters.
Now, of course, you can't just have imagination, right?
No. We need the specialized knowledge and organized planning to make it all real.
Hill's saying knowledge alone isn't power. Right?
Exactly. It has to be organized, directed towards a goal. That's what makes the difference.
Like Charles Schwab, the man behind U.S. Steel, he had this $1 million idea,
But what really made it happen was his plan.
his meticulous plan,
The way he presented it to J.P. Morgan.
vision and strategy.
And he knew the right people, his mastermind group, as Hill calls it.
Which brings us back to Hill and his own invisible counselors.
Oh, yeah.
He basically created his own mastermind group,
In his imagination.
these figures he admired. But it wasn't just a daydream, right?
No, this was his way of tapping into a collective wisdom, modeling himself after those who achieved greatness.
Okay, this is where Hill gets really interesting. He's not just saying find a mentor.
Right.
He's saying we can access this network of knowledge, inspiration, almost like tapping into a universal consciousness.
Even if it's through a mental construct like his invisible counselors.
It's like, I don't know, think about how we curate our social media feeds today.
Yeah.
Surrounding ourselves with thought leaders, experts.
Building a virtual mastermind group in a way.
Exactly. So think about your goals. What knowledge do you need? Who are the people, real or imagined, who can help you get there?
Hill's challenging us to be intentional about the information we consume, the company we keep.
Both physically and mentally. And that's where we'll pick up next time, right? as we move deeper into Hill's philosophy.
Into the subconscious mind, the realm where thoughts and beliefs take root.
And shape our reality.
Exactly.
Can't wait to get there.
Me neither.
So we've been talking about desire, persistence, imagination, all those things. But how do we actually, get from the thought to the actual result, the tangible result?
That's the question, isn't it?
This is where Hill's idea of the subconscious mind comes in.
The subconscious. He gets really interesting here.
He does.
He describes it as this incredibly powerful force.
Powerful.
But it's impartial.
Impartial.
Doesn't care what you feed it, it just takes it all in. Records those thoughts, those beliefs, especially the dominant ones.
And then what?
And then it works to make them real. The thing is, it works just as well with negative thoughts as positive ones. He's not sugarcoating it.
Oh, no, he actually calls it,
The devil's workshop.
Yeah, that's right. Because our own negative self-talk.
All that negativity from outside.
It can really sabotage us.
Totally. You sent in this whole book as source material.
I did.
Was there anything in that chapter that really resonated with you?
The thing that really struck me was his list of questions. Like, he wants us to confront how susceptible we are to negativity.
Oh, yeah. Those are powerful.
It's so easy to just blame everything else,
External factors.
But he makes you look inward.
Ask yourself those tough questions.
Like, do you often feel sorry for yourself? Why?
Do you tolerate negative influences you could actually avoid?
Yeah, like, those are hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
He's making you take responsibility for your mental state.
Absolutely.
But he doesn't just, leave us hanging with the problem.
No. He gives us a solution.
A way to fix it.
A way to consciously program the subconscious mind.
Through
Auto-suggestion.
Auto-suggestion.
It's like planting seeds.
Planting seeds.
Yeah, like you're planting the seeds of what you want to grow in your life.
I see.
By feeding your subconscious mind those positive affirmations, visualizations, beliefs, you're cultivating the right mental landscape.
The landscape that will attract the right circumstances.
Exactly.
Interesting. Didn't he use autosuggestion on himself?
He did. That's how he formed his invisible counselors.
That's right. To help him get over his self-doubt and embody, those traits he wanted.
The traits he needed to succeed.
It's like he hacked his own mind, right?
He did. He created this mental support system.
Yeah.
Drawing from the wisdom of all these people he admired.
So this all ties into his concept of the sixth sense, right?
Broader sense, yeah.
Going beyond the five we all know.
It's that intuition, that gut feeling. Leads you to the right decision.
Even if you don't know why.
Can't logically explain it.
He suggests we all have it, this sixth sense.
But we might not know how to access it.
How to use it. Remember Dr. Elmer Gates and his personal communication room?
Oh, yeah, he would isolate himself.
Total sensory deprivation.
Soundproof, light-controlled, to stimulate his imagination, trying to tap into those aha moments.
It's like he was creating the perfect environment for his subconscious to just,
speak to him.
Exactly. And Hill cites other research too, right?
Oh, yeah, he brings in the science, like the work of Dr. Ryan at Duke University, studying ESP.
Extrasensory perception.
Hill tries to ground these, mystical concepts in actual scientific observation, almost like he's saying, look, there's more to our minds than we even know.
It really makes you wonder, hasn't it ever happened to you? You have a hunch, turns out to be right.
Yeah, totally. A feeling that leads you to make a choice that logically you wouldn't have made, but it works out.
Exactly.
Hill would say that's your sixth sense.
The sixth sense in action.
And he believes we can train it through things like meditation, visualization.
He says it's the key to unlocking
infinite intelligence.
Right. That source of creativity and inspiration we were talking about before.
Beyond our conscious understanding.
It really raises some interesting questions.
It does.
If our subconscious minds are so powerful and, maybe we're all connected on some level through thought energy.
Whoa.
Are we influencing each other more than we even realize?
That's a big one.
It is. And this leads us to another key part of Hill's philosophy, right? The need to conquer fear.
Conquer fear.
He identifies 6 basic fears that hold people back.
6.
And the most destructive.
The fear of poverty.
Poverty.
It's rooted in this scarcity mindset, this belief that there just isn't enough to go around.
And Hill argues that this fear can be paralyzing.
Stops us from taking risks.
The risks we need to succeed.
And he's not pulling any punches when he describes the impact of this fear. He talks about this man facing poverty, highlights how it just destroys self-esteem, ambition.
It's not just about money, is it?
No, it's about the emotional toll. how that fear can make you doubt yourself.
Makes sense. So what's the answer? How do we get out of that?
Hill says we need a mindset shift.
From scarcity to
Abundance.
abundance.
We have to believe we can create wealth, attract those resources we need, instead of constantly fearing lack.
Okay, so this ties back to the subconscious mind, right?
It does.
If we keep feeding it those thoughts, those poverty thoughts, those scarcity thoughts.
It's going to manifest those things.
But if we reprogram our thinking,
Focus on abundance, possibility.
on our own potential,
Our subconscious will work to bring those things to life.
it's a really powerful concept.
It is.
But it's not just about the fear of poverty, is it?
No, Hill addresses the other fears too. Criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, death.
Yeah.
He says they all come from a lack of faith
Lack of faith in
in ourselves and in
Yeah.
the universe. He even talks about embracing death
embracing death.
as an inevitable part of life,
Okay.
making a conscious decision to live fully now instead of letting fear control us.
I mean, that takes us right to another key principle, right?
It
The
does.
power of decision.
Decision. Hill believed that indecision just breeds fear and worry. He tells that story, you remember? The condemned man
Mm-hmm.
finds peace by accepting his fate.
Oh, right. Extreme example.
It is, but it shows how, even when things seem impossible,
Making a firm decision.
can bring calm, control.
He says action is the antidote to fear, right?
You can't just think your way out of fear.
You have to act, even when you're afraid.
He uses the signing of the Declaration of Independence as an example.
That's a pretty bold decision.
It was a bold act that created a nation.
It makes me think of Edwin Barnes again. Showing up at Edison's lab with, like, nothing but a desire.
And a refusal to take no for an answer.
A bold decision.
Yeah.
A leap of faith. And it changed everything.
It did. So the question for us is, what decisions are we putting off? What fears are we letting hold us back?
Big question.
Big questions. Hill would say the first step is to acknowledge the fear and then decide to act anyway.
Move from that feeling of being stuck to...
Empowerment.
And that's what we're going to keep exploring as we dive into the final part of Hill's philosophy. All right, so we've talked about desire, persistence, even the subconscious mind, and conquering fear. Now we're going into, I don't know, maybe some trickier territory.
Update, yeah.
Hill calls it sex transmutation,
Definitely one of the more controversial parts of his philosophy.
for sure, especially today.
It's really important to approach this with sensitivity, you know?
Absolutely.
Recognizing that Hill was writing in a different time.
Different context, different world.
Exactly. His views on, sex and gender roles, they might not resonate with everyone today.
Right.
But what's interesting is the underlying principle.
What's he actually trying to say here?
He's saying that sexual energy is a powerful force.
Okay, sure.
One of the most powerful forces driving us.
Driving human behavior.
And if we understand how to channel it,
It can be a huge motivator.
he calls it the most powerful of human desires.
Wow.
The fuel for our creativity, ambition, drive. But he's not saying just go wild.
Right. Indulgence isn't the answer.
No, he warns that uncontrolled desire can lead to bad decisions,
Right.
recklessness.
So how do we harness it? What does he mean by sex transmutation?
It's not like a magic trick, You can't just transform it into, I don't know, writing a novel.
Right, not directly.
It's more about redirecting that intensity, that focus, that drive, that creative energy that often comes with sexual desire.
Okay, I see. So you take that energy
And you
and...
channel it towards something else, something you're passionate about.
So you're harnessing that power, but using it differently. Didn't he suggest that a lot of, great artists, inventors, entrepreneurs...
Yeah, he points to people like Henry Ford, Andrew Carnegie. He believed their relentless focus, their drive, it came from this ability to, sublimate their sexual energy.
Interesting. Whether we agree with all that or not, what's important here is...
That he's recognizing something. Our emotions aren't inherently good or bad.
It's about how we manage them.
How we channel them. That's what matters. And this applies to everything, not just sexual desire. Anger, fear, excitement, love.
Speaking of love, Hill talks a lot about its role in success.
Huge motivator.
He says, especially for men, there's this deep desire to please women.
And that often drives their ambition.
He even says man's greatest motivating force is his desire to please woman.
That men throughout history have sought wealth, power, status.
All to win the admiration of women.
To be loved.
I know that might sound a little, I don't know, oversimplified today. Maybe even a bit outdated. But it's interesting that he's recognizing the power of relationships.
Especially romantic relationships.
How they can influence our motivations, our behavior.
It all comes back to connection.
We're not just isolated individuals striving for success.
We're social creatures. We want to belong, to be loved.
And those desires shape our goals.
They drive our
He
actions.
even gives advice on, like, building healthy relationships, emphasizing mutual respect, understanding shared values.
It's a good reminder. True success isn't just about achieving things.
It's about those fulfilling relationships, too.
The ones that bring us joy, support, meaning.
He'll believe that's what true success is about.
Finding happiness
Not just in our accomplishments, but...
in our relationships, our passions, how we contribute to the world.
So, big picture, what can we take away from this deep dive into Think and Grow Rich?
It's more than just a guide to making money.
It's a challenge to really look at our beliefs, confront those fears.
Tap into the power of our minds to create the life we want.
Maybe Hill's onto something with those more mystical concepts,
The magic kettle.
the invisible counselors.
The sixth sense.
Or maybe it's just a way to reframe our thinking, tap into our potential,
Either way, it's a fascinating look at the human mind.
and its power to shape reality.
Absolutely.
So keep those desires burning.
Stay persistent.
Never stop exploring that potential within you.
Who knows what you might achieve?
Until next time, keep diving deep.